On Thursday, former Senator Bob Dole of Kansas will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda, an honor that has been bestowed only on a few distinguished individuals. The World War II hero and longtime Senate Republican leader who passed away Sunday will then have a state funeral Friday at the Washington National Cathedral. He was 98 years old. In his final op-ed that was published yesterday, which he began drafting in October and finished 2 weeks ago, Senator Dole talked about how Democrats and Republicans during his years in Congress were political combatants as well as friends who could work together. And he noted how different the picture is now today. With me now to talk about that picture and to share his thoughts on the late Senator Bob Dole is former Ambassador for Religious Freedom, Sam Brownback, also served as governor of the state of Kansas as well as senator of Kansas. He took Bob Dole's seat in the U.S. Senate. Ambassador, Senator, Governor, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tony, it's always good to join you, and delighted to be able to talk about Bob Dole. What a great American hero, a legend, and certainly a favorite son of my state of Kansas.
He certainly was, and I think you knew him well. I knew him a little bit. Back in '96 when he ran for president, he came to Louisiana. I was just elected in the Senate race I was working in. He campaigned with us, so I got a chance to get to know him a little bit. But I admired him from the standpoint of his service to the country, a lifelong service to our country. But tell us a little bit about the personal side of Bob Dole that you got to know.
He was a great guy. I mean, he was a deep patriot through and through. He cared about his country to the very end. I talked to him on the phone less than a month ago. I was supposed to go see him, but I was concerned about giving him COVID, so I didn't go see him. But we were talking about the country then, and then we prayed together at the end of the conversation. I asked him if we could pray together, and he said, "Wish you would." And just a deep, that generation of faith that you lived it, you didn't talk too much about it, but was God-fearing, I guess I would put it that way. He really, I thought, was the iconic figure, the embodiment of the World War II generation, that greatest generation. He will be sorely missed.
It was interesting in his last op-ed that he wrote that was just recently published. He talked about freedom and coming together over an understanding of freedom, and he talked about the political divide. And I think you've seen it, I've seen it in my time in the political sphere, that there is a division in this country that is extremely pronounced. And politics is a bit different than when Bob Dole first entered politics back in the 60s.
Oh, it's a lot different. Even from when I was in the Senate, where I took Senator Dole's seat, I did bipartisan bills on topics that there was bipartisan agreement on, like human trafficking. The first human trafficking bill I did with the late Paul Wellstone. You could do things like that. If it wasn't kind of a core topic that there was a battle about, we found ways to get together. And now you can't even hardly find ways to get together on things that you agree on, which is a real terrible tragedy for the country. And I think, honestly, Tony, there is a bipartisan majority in the country to have people to get together on the things we agree upon and move forward. It's just politics has tended to permeate everything anymore, even sports so much that it's hard to find agreement on a football team.
When you look at Bob Dole's generation of Republican leaders, there is no question. In fact, Bob Dole himself, I think back in 2014 in an article, in an interview rather, said, today's Republicans are a lot more conservative than when I was in office. I think you can clearly see that the Republican Party has become more conservative. And, of course, the Democratic Party, I would argue, has become more liberal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think some of the stuff that the progressives in the Democrat Party are pushing are just, I can't understand it. At least the stuff before, I could kind of, I see where you're getting to that, but I just don't understand where they're going to or what they want to try to get to. And so you really do have this huge divide It is a more conservative Republican Party. It's a progressive party in the Democrat side that is out of step with most of the mainstream
Right.
of America. And so now you've got this really huge divide, which makes it so much harder for people to get together. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to it. One of the things that Bob Dole did do that I think we need to do a lot more of is building relationships. He had relationships, good relationships, solid ones across the aisle. And that's certainly something we can emulate and need to follow and do. That would help the divide.
You know, I've had the conversations I've had the kind of the benefit of kind of being a bridge between some generations, and I've had a chance to get to know Bob Dole and John McCain and a number of others. And, you know, one of the questions that I like to probe is, you know, why is the Republican Party more conservative today? Why is the Democratic Party, which shouldn't say liberal, more leftist? But the issues are really driving it. In some of these issues today, you have to take a stand on one side or the other. There's really no middle ground with some of these issues.
That's true. Like abortion, the case last week that the Supreme Court took up on the Dobbs case that I pray will overturn Roe versus Wade. The left is just to that. They say, no, you know, we want Roe left in place, even though that was an invented constitutional right to an abortion. It's not in the Constitution. Well, there's no middle to find on that. Now, I hope looking forward that people will recognize that life begins when it begins and not at a time. So that's certainly a piece of it. But, Tony, we could agree on things that aren't quite that divisive, and I think we ought to find a way to do it.
Yeah, I do think culturally, though, we've actually reached a stronger consensus on life. Maybe not politically, but culturally, I think America has shifted more to the pro-life column. Senator Senator Sam Brownback, always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Happy to do it. God bless you, Tony, and God bless Bob Dole.
All right. Merry Christmas, my friend.